Welcome to another episode of the CPG Guys podcast. Our co-hosts, Sri Rajagopalan and Peter V.S. Bond, explore how brands and retailers engage with consumers online, in-store, and everywhere in between. And now, here are Sri and Peter. Hey everybody, welcome to the CPG Guys podcast. I'm PVSB, one of the aforementioned CPG guys. I'm also the Vice President of Partner Strategy and Development at Fetch Rewards, a mobile loyalty platform. And as always, I am joined on this educational journey about how brands and retailers engage consumers by my very dear friend and an impresario in the consumer packaged goods world. What I love most about him is he is insatiably curious. I think that makes podcasting much more meaningful. So please join me in welcoming the other CPG guy. He is a New York Yankee living in La La Land, and his name is Sri. Sri, how you doing, brother?
You know, Peter, I want to say living the dream, but I think my mom didn't accurately teach me how to live the dream.
No?
Yeah. But, Peter, this is an exciting weekend for you and me, because finally... no more sleeping on mattresses on the floor. That's the plan, at least. Let's hope it works out.
I know, man. I can't wait to have a couch to sit on.
Because
all our
stuff
is coming in.
Are getting our goods, hopefully in the next few days.
Yeah.
You know, they give us windows, but that window opens up tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I know. Can't wait for our property to get there. Because with all the rain I've had in the last week, I was pretty much afraid I was going to float out down into the ocean in Connecticut here. But in any event.
For our listeners, so Peter, I'm on the West Coast. I actually didn't even know. I've been busy with work. I've been talking to you, Peter. We've been doing some recordings. I didn't even know that a hurricane passed through the Northeast. Take 30 seconds and give our viewers what happened.
Yeah, we had an unwelcome house guest named Ida. She entered the U.S. through Louisiana and made her way up in a curve towards Connecticut. The other night there were tornadoes and massive flooding in Philadelphia, New Jersey, and even, my God, I think 3 or 4 inches of rain in Central Park in an hour, and there were buses that were submerged, subways submerged in Brooklyn, in Queens. It's just crazy. It's crazy.
And Sri missed all of this.
We're fortunate where we are in Guilford, Connecticut. We're on the high end of town, and we're on a slope to begin with. So I think we have, as I said to someone the other day, we have real estate that I think even Noah would have been envious of in the event of a flood. But that didn't stop. When I tried to get down to the bottom of my hill, road was completely washed out. Had to go all the way back up and work my way around. So a little crazy. But surviving, Sri.
Thank God.
Thanks, Sri, and it's great to have you on this journey. Before we get to our guest today, I want to remind our audience that all of our content, including the great series we've produced on profitability, our Women's Leadership series, we did a Founders series back in January, and so much more, links to our Instagram account, our Twitter account, our TikTok account. Sri, we talked about this just yesterday. We need to start pushing out more TikTok content. I think we have some experts at TikTok in your family that can probably help us there. But please go to cpgguys.com. You can find everything there. And the best way to keep track of us is on LinkedIn. So go to LinkedIn, enter in CPG Guys in the search box. And when you get to our page, click follow in the upper left-hand corner. And that is how you can keep track, because we produce not only just links to our podcast, but other content, stories we think are interesting. It's a really great community we've created. We're at 7,000 strong, 100,000 downloads of our podcast. Wow, just phenomenal times we're having. But in any event, please go there. And it's all free. Doesn't cost you nothing. Feel like I'm John Belushi at an Animal House. Have a beer. Why not? Doesn't cost nothing. But in any event, so onto our episode today. Sri, the explosion of e-commerce ensuing from the pandemic was particularly pronounced in grocery consumables. And penetration of households using e-commerce in some capacity to satisfy particularly their needs for safely purchasing groceries actually exceeded 70%. And that's even in the baby boomer demographic. Like post-pandemic, post-onset of the pandemic, all of the demographic age groups saw tremendous growth. So brands that had previously ignored the digital shelf because it represented, say, less than 5% of their channel sales suddenly focused on the drivers of search engine optimization on retailer.com sites, right? More specifically, each e-commerce retail site where groceries are available for sale, it has, I don't know if you know this, Sri, they have their own search algorithms, but it's not all the same one. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I did not know that. Wow.
I know. I was a little surprised.
That's actually scary.
It's a little scary, but ensuring that consumers seeking to find products that allow them to do things like live authentic health lifestyles, like gluten-free, sugar-free, and the like, making sure that these consumers are able to find those products easily through retailers' search function became extremely critical for brands seeking to have their products appear on the first page of search results. With another stat, I don't know if you knew, Shri, when a product goes from the second page or subsequent pages to the first page of results, they see on average a 50% increase in sales.
I didn't know the number, but I guessed it's going to be phenomenal.
Right. So that's pretty important. So back to our guest today. Recently, in the last couple of months, a young gentleman who founded an innovative tech company to address the efficient and accurate capture of product attributes to fuel search on the digital shelf approached the CPG guys. We talk about ourselves in the third person, right? Don't we, Sri?
All the time.
CPG guys.
Who are they, Peter?
All the time.
Do you know them?
I don't know. They're luminaries.
Got to discover them.
Anyhow, he approached us about mentoring his business, and we were quite impressed with what he's accomplished to date, the partners he's amassed, and the clients that his company has signed. So without any further ado, please join Shri and me in welcoming to the CPG Guys podcast the co-founder and CEO of Foodspace, Ayo Oshinaike. Ayo, how you doing today?
Real good, real good. I mean, I'm in New York right now, experienced a little bit of that hurricane, but seems like everything's cleared up today. The sun's shining, and it's a good day. So it's a pleasure to see you guys again.
I don't know if you saw the video. I'm sure you saw the video of the bus in Queens where literally the water was up into the well to the seat level, and people were standing on the seats as it drove through.
What did I miss?
It's crazy.
I got out to dry California at the right time. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the perfect time. It's pretty insane, especially the subways. The water's just flooding out. It was. It's good that he missed this.
How come this rain can't hit Lake Mead and fill up the water by the Hoover Dam? Have you seen the water line? Have you been out, Shri? You got to go out to the water line.
Yeah, Peter,
by the
it's
Hoover
like,
Dam.
on one side you got this, on the other side you got this. Shucks, it's fallen out of the screen.
It looks like eons of evolution, and it's really just the water level. It's crazy, anyhow. But
for the record, Peter, the CPG guys, I don't know who they are.
Yeah,
as you said, speak much more than just the transformation in the CPG industry. We're talking about water lines.
Water lines, yeah, it's crazy. But anyhow, back to Ayo. Ayo, before we get started, our audience loves to search the web while they're listening to our guests. So first of all, could you tell them now we'll have this in the digital liner notes of the podcast episode, but could you please tell people where to go on the web to learn more about Foodspace? And then after that, can you give us a little bit of an overview of what your company does?
Definitely. So first of all, we just redesigned our new website, foodspacetech.com. I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. It's pretty cool. It's unique. It's a unique experience about how it flows down to show how product information can be useful for the CPG industry. And then also while you're there, we have a great blog with some good information. We also have a podcast called Foodspace Pod. I'll give it to the CPG guys that is real inspiration of listening to this, and we had to create a podcast of our own. And also we're pretty active on LinkedIn, and we're always looking to make new connections. So happy to connect with anyone on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and really just find us anywhere on the internet under Foodspace Technology. So I guess a little bit about what we do. What Foodspace does is we create product data for the CPG and grocery industry. And even though our initial focus was online commerce, the rich product information that we create is really looking to enable a unified omni-channel experience. So a brand, for example, sends us a set of images of a product, and using our AI technology and computer vision, we scan and digitize all the information on the package, creating accurate information, and then synthesize it to create meaningful shopper-centric attributes that a brand can use for online product discovery. I mean, if you think about our current services, it all revolves around product data digitization, enhancement, and this information is really used for any retail setup form. You think about Walmart, you think about Target, you think about Amazon. As Peter, you mentioned, every single retailer has a different search algorithm, has a different taxonomy structure. So ensuring that your products show up best in each one of those retailers is important. On top of that, if any brands have PIMs like Salsify, we onboard and update data into those PIM solutions. And we just actually created a strategic partnership with Salesforce, enabling them to have a source of truth within their platform to create a 360 experience. And right now, we're actually the only computer vision company on Salesforce capturing this information to be able to power this 360 experience that Salesforce loves to talk about.
So, I'm really interested in understanding what was the industry need or issue that you identified that was not being sufficiently addressed that led you to founding Foodspace?
Yeah, so it's interesting. It all brings it back to Grocery Shop 2019. At the time, Foodspace, we were looking at really recipe integration, seeing how we could live in an online grocery setting. The goal was really to help consumers reduce waste, and we were a shopper platform app that helped people manage their fridge and their recipes. So we always had a shopper-centric mentality. So in working with this, we were working with a couple individuals at Grocery Shop, and we actually met with every single retailer at Grocery Shop to really talk about our recipe plugin. And every single retailer actually told us no, but one retailer told us why they couldn't use our recipe app. And the problem was product information, which we thought was pretty interesting. What the individual actually said was that product information presented online is so inaccurate that we're unable to really create recipe integrations or create new shopper-centric activities because the information that we actually have doesn't allow us to engage with the shopper in that level. And in that moment, I became really obsessed about figuring out, well, why is there this product information issue? Why isn't it reliable? Where is the breakdown of the information? And after working with this retailer actually for 6 months, starting with a pilot, and then actually working with understanding where the actual problem came about, we arrived to where we were today. And that's really allowed us to understand, first of all, having accurate product information allows you to build up off of that for customer experiences. On top of that, the consumer is always top of mind for us. We want to ensure that we meet their expectations and ensure that information allows them, a consumer, to find their products online.
Pleasure to welcome a fellow podcaster to the show. How about that? And you referred to inspiration coming from your visit to Grocery Shop back in 2019. For our audience, we had Joe Laszlo from Grocery Shop a few weeks ago. Of course, that forum is at the time of this recording in a few weeks. I know Peter is going to be there, and he's also going to live broadcast from the floor. So we'll look forward to all of that. But Io, welcome, first of all, to the show. You refer to PIMs, or product information management systems such as Salsify, right? But what differentiates Foodspace specifically from a PIM, and therefore, what are the kind of offerings Foodspace has that connects you guys to PIMs?
Definitely. So that's a great question. So I think the simple answer is that a PIM holds information while Foodspace creates information. And that we create information to enrich the product information that brands can ultimately load to their PIM platform. So if you think about, we both are used as an implementation tool and as a maintenance tool to ensure a PIM has the data that you can trust, but it's also the data needed to create a unified omni-channel experience. If you're looking for example, spicy food, or Walmart, interesting enough, has a category called occasion type. So if you're looking for a birthday meal, our data ultimately powers these discovery experiences for consumers and ensures that all the product information necessary, either on pack or derived through our AI platform, can be usable so that your shopper can find you wherever they shop.
Oh, that's a great overview, Io, but I kind of want to open up the hood and check out your Hemi, if you don't mind. So with that in mind, can you detail for us exactly how your platform records product attributes. And just walk us through from start to finish how it gets from the label into ultimately the PIM that the brand is hosting that you're feeding into.
Definitely. So it all starts with an image for us. So if you think about, we use a combination of AI technology and domain expertise to create the data. So our technology can read and digitize all of the literal information on the product image with extreme high accuracy. Think about a human looking at this, but at scale with that extreme level of accuracy. So accuracy is very critical to what we do because the data is representative of our brand and our clients. It's important that our consumers and our customers rely on our information for shopping decisions. For example, if somebody has an allergen, you want to ensure that you have 100% accuracy, that you're listing that out and it's accurately listed out. So once the package label information is captured, our AI is trained by our nutrition and product data experts to synthesize that information to shopper-centric characteristics, nutritional information, functional data, experience data. I think actually the other day, a partner wanted us to identify if their product was peppery. So it's unique assets that we're able to derive with our information. Now, all this data can be exported via file format in any brand, in any format that the brand needs. PIM, retailer, other systems, Salesforce and Microsoft as well, just to ensure that the information is proper for each individual commerce channel.
You know, Peter will be often asking on the show, is your product peppery? That said, IO.
Shri, I'm always asking, people are always asking me, is Shri peppery? To which I say, have you heard his podcast? Of course he is.
Oh boy, here we go.
He's spicy.
Oh boy, here we go. That said, you know, Peter and I on this show have several times over the course of the last year and change we've been doing this as CPG guys talked to us a lot about the importance of product content as well as attributes. But when we start looking category by category, you know, obviously electronics, beauty, a lot of the search takes place based on attributes because they're actually looking for a need state or a very functional need state, such as acne care could be one of them, or a HD 1080p television that's 70 inches, so nothing matters more than the attributes. Let's jump into food and beverage search. Any data that you all have seen gathered in the process of being content curators? You know, you clearly described the difference between PIM and what you guys do in Foodspace. Any data here on compelling metrics on the importance of product attributes in food and beverage search?
Definitely. So actually, I was speaking to our partner, Profitero, Mike Black over there, and one of the interesting stats that they have is 45 to 58% average sales lift when you improve content to meet category benchmarks for product information. And what that means is that if you have the right information for your category, it actually allows you to have a significant sales uplift. So if you think about your usage of Profitero, of actually figuring out where are the errors or where is the need for improvement, think about Foodspace being on the flip side of actually making those changes to ensure that you actually are able to make those sales lifts. So, I mean, one example I love to bring to the table is that I look at the success we've had with brands and helping out with the navigation bar optimization. A lot of our focus has been placed on retail search optimization, but 40% of shoppers leverage the category and navigation filters during their shopping journey. For example, Walmart. If you search gluten-free cereal, there's 166 results in the search results, but with navigation bar, there's only 2. So it's a wonderful opportunity for a brand to gain significant edge in discoverability, and our attribution creation, formation, and also integration allows a brand to win not only in search, but also in the navigation bar when a person is looking to discover a product and looking for your product, but you're not there if you're not showing up in the navigation bar.
Sure.
All right. We are speaking with Io Oshinaike, the co-founder and CEO of Foodspace. Io, next question. Are the attributes that you are able to develop the same for each retailer's digital shelf? Or if not, then how are you preparing retailer-specific attributes in the content to fuel their sites individually?
So we do it all. We have universally accepted applied attributes, and we have attributes we're developing ourselves that represent where the trends are going. I mean, we just talked about a little bit peppery. We're always trying to figure out where a shopper is looking for, what's interesting for us, and really trying to figure out what types of attributes attract different customers or different consumers. On top of that, we have close relationships with retailers, trying to understand where are they going in their taxonomy structures, where are they going in terms of attribution, and ensuring that when we work with a brand, whatever category they're in, we have the attributes necessary for them to show up, not only on the P2P page or through search or through navigation, but also when a retailer is looking to use this attribution to understand merchandising in store, your information's there. So a retailer can understand where to place your product and understand how to ensure that your product wins if they're doing any promotions. So we develop these retail specific attributes so that brands can give retailers accurate and complete information to help them sell more of their products. And this is what we've seen. You have more information, it's accurate, and customers trust your information, your products sell more. They're more discoverable.
All right, thank you for that one. Indeed, they become a whole lot more discoverable when that happens. But the question I have for you is there are other notable industry attribute producers that employ human data capture. Right? I made a big statement, Ayo. This is a really big statement. Other notable industry attribute producers that employ human data capture, right? Why do you think your solutions or Foodspace's solutions are most scalable and relevant to today's industry needs? Is it because is it the explosion of content that's getting unmanageable?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I first like to think of us as our mission is to create a unified commerce experience. What I see is before 2020, the online grocery boom, there was a lot of great thought leadership pieces that were talking about the need for agility and product information. It's also good to take a look at some of the reports by this individual called Donald Tinhold, who's a vice president of insights at data at Capgemini. So what we see is the CPG commerce environment is in a constant flux. Over 30% of products are updated each year. Retail requirements are constantly changing, and consumer demands for information are constantly evolving. So speed, accuracy, and completeness is more important than ever in these shifting sands of the modern day CPG commerce environment. So brands need a way to create and update this product information with speed and scale. And our 60 brand customers would agree that our technology makes it easier and more simple to be able to do that. All brands need to be able to do is send us their product information, their product images. With that, we'll create and update the data for those products so it can quickly be wherever the shoppers need to find their products. The next piece is that accuracy is so important for us. And our technology allows us to retain high levels of accuracy, which provides increased trust and transparency, which are the cornerstones of loyalty on the digital shelf and in a unified commerce experience. If consumers can't find your information, there's no purchase and there's no confidence in the brand, and it really diminishes. So in reality, what we're trying to work on and what makes us different is the speed, the level of technology that we're using, the accuracy, and the ability to ensure that on each specific retailer and each specific commerce channel, you're ready and prepared to win, to be able to be discovered and increase sales.
Very succinct response. Thank you for that, Ayo. You did, and as Sri alluded to, there are other big players that are in this space. I'd love to know from the standpoint of opening this market up, how do you plan to make the sourcing and distribution of product attributes between the brand and the retailer a more open data exchange process that to a degree discourages a handful of monopoly players from levying excessive tolls or putting obstacles in the way that discourages, frankly, the assistance of search for consumers to engage in?
So, I mean, simply speaking, we're ready to meet brands wherever they are in their e-commerce journey. Our data creation process is simple. So we're able to adapt to wherever they need to use our information. You need to set up data for your input, set up forms, or your PIM, we've got you. If you need data for your D2C sites, we've also got you. Or even if you need data for micro-segmentation of customers, we've got you. Because the way that we leverage technology, we can do this at a cost that allows for democratization of this data that hasn't been possible before. Also, 1 minute per complete product information is a huge adjustment. Being able to constantly capture and create consistent information across your unified commerce experience is a unique offering. And we want our partners to have a peace of mind that their data is correct. And we also want brands and CPG customers to really look at us as collaborators in building their product data strategy that will allow them to build a foundation from the ground up. So for us, it's all about making sure that we are there to be partners to ensure that if you think about the ideal situation of just pressing a button and all your product content that's necessary for that exact channel is correct, that's what we're aspiring to do. Create that true omni-channel or universal commerce experience.
Awesome. Drum roll piece, Peter, because here's the question, IO. For every startup, one of the most important things is the fundraising that it successfully does. Peter, and I know you're in the middle of Series A. And what's been some of the most interesting learnings, experiences? Is it the first time you're doing this? And what's advice you'll dole out for other budding entrepreneurs like you?
Definitely. I mean, it's definitely been a roller coaster. I mean, it's been wonderful to meet different individuals from, industry experts to some of the key SaaS investors on the West Coast and also in the East Coast as well. I mean, one thing that was pretty cool is that we were even invited to robot fighting, which was pretty cool. It was actually in your area, Peter, in Connecticut. So it was pretty fun to see that happen. But it's honestly been a privilege to have some conversation with the most unique and talented, brilliant individuals in the space that understand the perspective of what Foodspace is trying to do. I look at our work, if you think about similar companies such as Plaid, or if you look at companies like Twello, we're not only looking to create product information, we're looking to create an environment that's more able to connect both sides of the industry. If I think about creating a unified commerce experience, that's really what our investors have been interested in learning a lot about. And it's been a wonderful experience, and we're excited to close this out shortly.
Sri, I think we need to do robot fighting videos on TikTok. I think that is the synergy that we've been missing, and IO just helped us find that. This is groundbreaking today. I want to remind our audience that all of our content, you can find it by going to cpgguys.com. We'll add the robot fighting videos there at some point. Please go check that out. And we want our podcast to cover topics that our audience is interested in learning more about. And the best way for you to share that feedback with us is to go to ratethispodcast.com/CPG guys. Click on the Apple platform, leave a review. You can give a star rating up to 5. I'm a personal fan of 5, but it's entirely up to you. But seriously, write the review and tell us what you want to hear more about, and we'll adjust our guests and our conversations to accommodate those requests. We really want to be responsive. We've been talking today with Io Oshinaike, the co-founder and CEO of Foodspace. Io, thank you so much for coming on board. I know Sri and I have really enjoyed getting to know you and understanding your business, and we're grateful that you reached out to the CPG guys for some guidance. It's been a real pleasure, and thank you for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you again, guys. Appreciate this.
Sri, another great episode. I heard several times, I heard him dropping knowledge. I heard that big thud, boom. So drop the mic. There it was.
Ayo, first of all, thank you for joining us on the show. But Peter, every time I talk to somebody or a company or a business that's actually focused on the content space, it renews in my mind the importance of how when product is created in the industry, consumable product is created in any sort. This could be a television, it could be a food, it could be a bev, really doesn't matter which category. The obsession on physical packaging has to show up on the digital shelf. They need, every single brand marketer, hear me clearly, you need to obsess about the digital shelf as much pride as you feel on the physical packaging. Because when they shop, the consumer shops, the customer shops, they are browsing your content, and in some ways they can get to it faster and they can have more experiences online than they can in a physical model. Please take it seriously. And I was
Yeah, and
go ahead, Peter.
to add to that, I was just going to say, people walking the physical store, they're still bringing their mobile phones with them. They are doing search while they're in aisle. So when
Right.
Io said it enables omni-channel search, he really means it. I mean, that is really where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
Obsess on your packaging.
Yep.
Can't highlight that enough.
Yep. You're right.
All right. Well, thank you, Shri, for another great episode. Love doing that with you. Can't wait for you and me to have couches to sit on, and we'll be much more relaxed. Our backs won't be out of joint from sitting on the floor or sleeping on a mattress that's on the floor without a frame. But thank you again for joining me on today's episode.
You bet, Peter. A pleasure to do this week over week with you, and hope bring much needed news about the transformation of the industry.
Yeah, and as Shri mentioned earlier, I'm off to grocery shop. I know I'm going to be meeting up with Io there. It should be a lot of fun. You guys have got a booth on the show floor, and I know you're going to be talking as well. So really great event. If you hear some of our ads for grocery shop on the podcast, letting people know about it. So if you're going there, please make sure to certainly stop by and say hi to Io. But if you see me walking the floor, just come on up and say hey, and I'll love to talk to you. Want to know what you're thinking about. So anyhow, thanks everybody, and look forward to speaking with you on the next episode of the CPG Guys podcast. Goodbye.
Bravo.
The content in this podcast episode is provided for general informational purposes only. By listening to our episode, you understand that no information contained in this episode should be construed as advice from CPG Guys LLC or the individual author, hosts, or guests, nor is it intended to be a substitute for research on any subject matter. Reference to any specific product or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by CPG Guys LLC. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. The views expressed by CPG Guys LLC do not represent the views of their employers or the entity they represent. CPG Guys LLC expressly disclaims any and all liability or responsibility for any direct, indirect, incidental, special, consequential, or other damages arising out of any individual's use of, reference to, or inability to use this podcast or the information we present in this podcast.